Welcome back JPD Studio. Today we are exploring React Hook, a powerful feature in React that lets you use state and other functionality without class component. Whether you are a beginner and fresher React developer, this video for you. By end of this video, you will understand useState, useEffect and more in simple and easy way. Let's get started. These are the introduction. What are React hooks? React hooks are special functions introduced in React 16.8 that allows to use state and other React feature in functional component without need to write class components. Rules. Rule number 1. Call hooks at top level. Do not call hooks inside loop, conditions and nested functions. Always call them at top level of your component. Call hooks only React functions. Hooks should only be used in React function component or custom hooks, not in regular JavaScript function. These are some conditions. Now we go for useState hook. useState hook. useState is a function that adds state in function component. What is state, sir? State is nothing but just value and variable of your component. Like syntax, const is a keyword of JavaScript, where and set where, use state and initial value. What is where? Name of state variable, set where, function to manage and modify the state variables. Initial value, the first value of initialize the variable. Here I explaining the example. First of all, import React useState from React. The line imported from React library and useState hook from React. useState is a built-in React hook that allows function component to manage state. Then we write export default function app. What is meaning? This defined as function component, name as app. Export default means this component can be imported and used in other files. Then we write it const click and click set and use. Here declare a state variable using the state hook. Click storing a current count button. Click set click, a function updates the value of click. Use state initialize the click variable within the value is 0. Then return div. Return statement specify with the component should render. Div is a container that group of element inside p tag. This is a paragraph element that displays the number of time button was clicked, and clicked curly braces, clicked is there, inside is curly braces, dynamic insiding current value will be created. Button on, here we have, see here button on click, set click on +1 means this is a button element with a on click event handler. When button was clicked, arrow function set click and click +1 executed, set click updated state increasing the value of 1. React re-rendered the component, display the defined. Then closing div, closing return statement and end the app. Here you can see the example. Okay. Now we go for next. useEffect. useEffect is used to perform side effect in our code. Side effect. What is side effect? Side effect are action which are performed like fetching data, setting up subscription, or direct updating the DOM. Means, see, fetching times from API is calling. Subscription means the time to time delaying, 10 minutes late, 2 minutes late, and fetching DOM. Here syntax is there, useState. The function is here, this callback arrow function is named as function effective function. We want to run this function only once when the component mounts. Okay, here array structure is look like array structure. This is called dependency list. A empty list causes the effect to runs once when the component first mounts. Okay, na? Then we go for arguments. See, callback function also called effective functions, a callback function, both are same. Here containing the logic, effective logic, and may optional return a cleanup function. Also present in a cleanup function for cleaning up after the effect. And dependency, a array list, a dependency list. These are optional. First thing, arrays values the huge effect watched. This is first. And second point, if a value in the array change, the effect reruns. If omit, the effect runs after every render. If you are omit the dependency, then every render will runs. Okay. What is the dependencies key concepts for optional? Without dependency array, if you do not pass a dependency array, the effective runs after every render. This is first point. Second point, with the empty dependency array, the effect runs only once when the component mounts. Third thing, with specified dependency, the specify runs only when the specified dependency change. Cleanup function, if you are effective invoice something like subscription timer, use the cleanup function to prevent memory leaking. Okay. Here again, useState and useEffect from a library. This is function export default function. Hook counts is the hook count 1 is the function name. Here we first of all useState hook initialization. Here useEffect hook with the count dependency. Return function. In return function, one button is there, on click handle. Arrow function set count, previous count plus 1, and then close the button and close the div, close this everything. Here the output is there, you can see here, if the clicking time increasing, see 1 2 3 4 5 6 1 2 3, this is continually going on. You can understand easily. Now we go for next. useRef. useRef allow us to access DOM element for creating mutable variable which is not re-render the component. See, here syntax is there. Const ref object means current. Ref React returns an object with an current property. useRef initial value, passing the initial value to the useRef hook. Okay na? Then we gave example here. Fragment and use is a React fragment and user import from the React library. Default app function. App function is there. Focus point is a one variable. This is a useEffect calling. Here click handle is an arrow function. In this arrow function, focus point current value is there. The quick brown for fox jumps over the lazy dogs is the return. Focus point, our here point current value dot focus, we called it return fragment. Here action button, a label is there. Label, click on the action button and focus pop up on the text area focus point. You can see if we click in this, here the display is showing. You can easily understand. Now we go for next. Oh, not next. One difference between useState and useEffect. While both are useRef and useState allows to store a value, then serves different purpose. First, useState trigger a re-render when the state value change. Second point, useRef do not cause re-renders when the value is updates. It is primarily used for prescribes value or accessing DOM elements. Features and useRef and difference between versus triggers re-rendering, no re-rendering, yes, useState re-rendering. Use cases, access DOM, prevent pristine values, handling component state, initial value optional and required. Now we go for some updated advanced hooks. Here first hook is use reducer. It is used to manage state in our React application. In other words, use reducer works like a state management tool. What is the state management tool? It is used to manage all state of an application in a simple way. Second point, always use reducer hook when you have a lot of states and method to handle. Syntax, here const states and dispatch. States means this is the current value of each property. Dispatch function, passing an action to the reducer. Use to action to create a new state from the older one, an initial state. This is the value of each property when the component first runs. Okay, example also there. Here import React and reducer from the React library. Define initial states. Okay, then function reducer, state and action. Switch cases, increment case 1, decrement and default. Like action and state, parameters are there, na? Action and state, current state of the component. Action, the object that describe in the how to state should change. This argument I will be talking logics. If action type is increased, count value is increased 1. Action type is decreased, then decrease by 1. If action type is unknown, an error throw. Then function defined, gref articles, the defining function, React function component name, gref article. Then again what we use reducer. Here reducer State and dispatch. State's current values, count value is 0. Dispatch is a function used to send a action to the reducer. Then return function. Return function counts and state counts. BR for break the lines. Create button on click dispatch. Type is increment. Means button element is created. On click method dispatch. Type is increment. Calls a dispatch with the action of increment. With the action of increment. Update the state with the using reducer. And the space given by this. This is the space NP, NB, SP. Again decrement same calling and closing. Here closing button, closing, closing, closed. Here you can see count increasing, count decreasing. Okay now. Then we go for second important thing, use layout effect. Use layout effect work exactly same as use effect, also same syntax. This is a no difference, but the difference is when it's run. Use effect runs after the DOM is printed on the browser. Use layout effect runs before the DOM is printed on the browser. Syntax is same. Function, effective function, yeah, callback function, dependency array, a dependency list. Same, but I will give the example also. Import useState layout and useState in useRef. Here function gref articles, one state useState, one useRef, layout effect, use layout effect, calling the function set wide, ref current, clicking width, client width, and array is empty only once. Then layout we calling ref width and we close this. You can see here example, he increasing the width and decreasing the width. Here you can see the width. See 720 is there, 350 is there. You can understand easily. Okay. Use memo. Use memo is a hook to apply memorization in React. What is memorization? It is a technique for improving the performance of code. It is used to avoid expensive calculations on every render when its return value is not changed. Syntax memorization value returns for giving arguments. Create functions, callback functions to calls the expensive process, and dependency list, array dependency, which variables expensive process using for the compute the functions. I will explain the example. Here the React useState and useMemo from React. I have two counts, two useState, one expensive calculation array. Oh, this is function, arrow function, then increment there and increment function, and last is there calling useMemo to expensive calculation and numbers. Okay now, expensive numbers, here expensive numbers calling this, here is the function, here is the calling and numbers. Return div counts and button increment and expensive calculations showing. Here you can see is a clicking 1 to 10, 1 to 10, then its increase value 11. Here 21 value is 22, 31, 31. This is the facts. Now we go for next. note is there. If we perform all side effect in useEffect hook and expensive functions calculations using useMemo hook, okay, use callback. It is used to return a memorization function. It is also useful for preventing a function from being recreate on re-rendering. Here memorization function, here memorization value. Difference between both of them. Improving the performance of our React application, use callback syntax is same exact as use memo hook. Then I will again same. This is XYZ storing the variable, callback returning the values, dependency array, storing memorization function, return memorization function, and recreate the function only when dependency is changed. This is syntax. Here is an example, same example, but here function will become, okay. Previously variable will become in use memo, variable will become, here function will become. You can see here if they clicking the button, function will become, okay na? Use context. It is used to manage global data in React application. If you want to pass data just for child component, then you will use props. Otherwise, if we avoid prop dealing, then use context. How to create a context? Create step number one, create the use context. How to create const login context, create context default value, okay na? Then step number two, provide the context. Here provide the values, then initial value useState, return function, log provider value and set values, child component name. Here child component name. In my cases, child component is the child component name. In your cases, we can change the name. Log out provider, close it, closed. Third step, consume the context with use context. Child component arrow function. Here value and set value using context login context. Value will be there, button on click function, in a return function, set value, updated value will be displayed, okay now? To create a use context, 3 steps will be there. First, create, provider and consumer. These are main important thing. Workflow, create context, define a context using create context, provider context used to provide to web the component that needs across to the context. Consumer context, use context in child component to access the share state and functions, okay. But last not the least, custom hooks are basically reusable functions. In simple term, custom hooks are used to own hooks that you are creating by using own use. It is an important term, use, and you can be use them multiple times in your projects. How to create? Here I create use counter is a custom for according to me. First initialize it, export default function use counter, initial value is 0. I started. I create first count and set count use state for initial value, increment function, decrement function and reset function. I create three functions and returning count, value, increment, decrement and reset. Here import the use counter default app function. We call back for this use state, our value is 10. Count value, increment value, decrement button and third reset button. Here showing that these things you can understand these things. Okay. Have any doubt? You can comment